What's up, everybody? You're back with Texting My Ex, and if you've been following me, you already know the drill, so let's just get to it, okay? So, with it being New Year, it's giving happy, it's giving, let's do something fun. It's giving like, let me throw in a little bit of nostalgia in there, right? So I came across an Apple Jacks shot, and I wanted to show you how to make it because it's super simple, and I'm actually interested to see if it tastes like Apple Jacks because I used to love that cereal. All you're gonna need is a little bit of frangelico, some rum chata, and some apple juice. 3 ingredients. And then of course you're gonna need to shake it with some ice. And I'm gonna do a shot today instead of a drink to carry over. So just real easy peasy pumpkin squeezy. Okay, you're gonna need a ½ ounce of each, 1, 2, and then just a splash of the apple juice. I always say a splash and then I do 2 splashes. Don't ask me why, just ignore me, y'all. Shake it. Now if this don't taste like Apple Jacks, I'm gonna be kind of depressed, I'm not gonna lie, but let's see. So let's strain it. All right, so let's try it. Cheers. Yo, that's banging. I'm not gonna lie. That's a dope shot. Who would have known something so easy? I do feel like I would have used a little bit less of the rum chata because even though I do get that like Apple Jacks, whatever, I feel like the rum chata kind of overpowers it. So I would just do like, instead of a 2 count of the rum chata, I'll do a 1 count. That's just my personal opinion. And I might add a little bit more of the apple juice. But either way, phenomenal shot. And let's get to our next text. All right, everybody. So if you've been following me for a while, you know that I do read my texts anonymously that people send in to me. And then I also randomly put in there like a question of the week that you guys can send just like real quick responses to, right? And the question for this week was, what is a red flag from a previous relationship that you ignored and later regretted? All right, so long nails. I think this is funny only because I thought I was the only asshole that will not date someone that has long nails. It is so unattractive to me when a dude does not know how to take care of his nails. Oh, and don't let them have the long pinky nail. Please get out of my face. Back up. Back up. And I wonder like what happened to where they're like, yeah, that was a red flag that I ignored. And then I wonder how like later it became a problem. Like, that's kind of funny to me. So glad I'm not the only one. Cut your nails. Overthinking negatively. I overthink like a motherfucker. However, I have discovered in my life that there is negative overthinking and then there is like a more positive overthinking. So I, for example, am a considerate overthinker. So it's more positive. Like I'm just basically like overly considerate and I'm like over-analyzing so many situations, thinking I might have offended someone or I might have said this wrong or I might have implied this or you know what I mean? Like, so it's more of like considering the other person or am I in their way? Did I do that too quickly? Did I, you know what I mean? But then negative overthinking is more of like, the jealousy, the paranoia, the, trust issues, stuff like that. That is a huge red flag and you shouldn't ignore it. You need to discuss it, address it, let the person know, listen, this is not something that I'm going to continuously have to deal with because I'm going to have to constantly answer these questions. I'm going to have to constantly reassure you like that at that point, you just need to work on yourself before you date or you need to find coping mechanisms because sometimes overthinking is hard to like fix and change. I mean, I've been trying to stop overthinking for so long and I recently in the last year have really tried to slow it down a bit, but I still don't think it's ever going to fully go away because even if I don't express it that I'm overthinking, I'm still overthinking. So, okay. How someone treated other people. Okay, so yeah, duh. I feel like that's a huge one. Well, I guess I shouldn't say duh because I do see how someone could maybe like let it go like the first couple times thinking, oh, maybe they're just having a bad day or, oh, maybe it's the environment or whatever. But at the end of the day, like I just feel like unless it's someone you know personally, because like if you being disrespectful to like your family member that you got beef with or that's always annoying you or, putting they nose and shit they don't need to, that's one thing. But if it's a complete stranger and you just off rip are disrespectful, like, you won't see me again, you won't hear from me again because that says a lot about your character. Hell, I used to have to get on my mama about that shit. Like, we'd be out in public and she'd be just rude for no reason. I'm like, girl, calm down. Why are you so rude? You could have said it just like this. It's not what you say, how you say it. That's a thing. So, yeah, I think it's just common respect and kindness, and you know, we need more of that in this world. So red flag, don't ignore it. Dirty feet. Again, a lot of these answers nobody elaborated on, so I'm just kind of assuming like, how did this become an issue? Like, how did you ignore it and then it became an issue type thing? The only thing I could think of is maybe like, because I know a lot of like country people that live out in the country, they're okay with running around, you know, with their shoes off, and you know, they're not afraid to get their feet dirty and stuff like that. They come in the house, you know, it's a little bit messier, and they just don't care. At least that's from my experience. So I'm wondering if maybe at first that's kind of what it was, and then they started to realize like, no, this person really just don't mind having dirty feet, and like, you ain't gonna have no dirty feet in my bed. You're not gonna have no dirty feet in my house. You're gonna wipe your feet off at that motherfucking door. I tell people to take their shoes off at the door. So dirty feet, what? Yeah, that's weird. Definitely shouldn't ignore that. Like, that's just hygiene, cleanliness, you know? Okay. They depended on me for happiness. That's a huge one, actually. You have to pay attention to that. And I actually didn't submit that one, but I can relate. I had a man, I've only had 2 men in my entire life treat me like amazing. And the first guy that I was with for like 2 to 3 years total, he treated me awesome. You know, great guy, hands down, can never say nothing negative about in that manner. However, he could not be happy without me. Like, he didn't have a life outside of me. So I felt like I was suffocating, and it made me fall out of love. You know, like, you're with me 24 fucking 7. Like, you need to have your own friends, your own things you like to do. Like, you shouldn't have to find only happiness with me. And I'm over here trying to figure my goddamn self out. Like, I was young, like 19, 20, 21. Like, I'm over here trying to figure out who I am. Like, how can I possibly, I don't know. It was just too much. So I think that is a huge red flag. Like, they have to have their own happiness within themselves before they can ever make somebody else happy. Do not ignore that red flag. It's going to cause you so many issues down the road. Trust me. Hoish tendencies when I met them. Listen, I have to play both sides on this one, because I think it is healthy for everybody to go through a hoe phase. I do. I said it. I think it's healthy. I do not think that that means that someone is not capable of being loyal and settling down when they have found the right person, right? I have a saying. Anybody that knows me knows this saying. And if y'all watching, y'all know what I'm about to say. I should get it tatted. When I am single as thick. But when I am loyal as fuck. And I can flip that switch whenever I need to. If I'm really about you and I really care about you, oh, I don't even see nobody else. But, you know, when I'm single, I'm having fun. I get it. I understand why this person said it, because there are people that, like, you kind of ignored it for the reasons I'm saying, right? And then they end up just doing you dirty, not wanting to put the whole cape up, and they just want to keep on doing stupid shit. So I get it. That's something that you kind of have to, like, be weary of, and almost pay attention to other red flags going along with it. Because if they on hoish shit, there's going to be other red flags you won't notice. She had bad kids. Okay, so the bad kids thing. I think it kind of depends on, number one, is she the sole parent? Is the father involved, right? If the kids are disrespectful to her but respect the man, the other parent, that to me is a red flag, yes. But if she is solely doing it on her own, and maybe her kids are kind of, they going through a phase, you know, every kid goes through that phase, I don't care who you are, where they trying you, you know, that's a little different. But I will say that, yes, to me, I would think it is a red flag if, and I'd be weary of it, if the person I was dating had no respect for their children, because mine knows better. Oh my God, all I gotta do is give her a look. So yeah, I definitely think that could be a red flag. And if they don't respect her, who the hell makes you think they're gonna respect you if you stick around? You are the step parent at that point. That's hard enough to get respect as it is. So yeah, I do see that. Bad snoring. So I may have stopped talking to a guy because of snoring. Snoring occurred later that night after he passed out from drinking and getting too fucked up. And I thought there was a freight train in our presence. I was like, ain't no way. This is how this man sound when he sleep. I was like, immediately, bing, bang, Boom, I'm out. Now, don't get me wrong. There was a couple other things I didn't really like about him that night, but that just like sealed the deal for me. But I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't care if he was motherfucking Prince Charming. I don't care if everything was just perfect. You snore like that, I'm gone. Because you need to go to the doctor and get that shit checked. I have family members that had that whole like, machine and all that. Ain't no way I'm gonna be married to you, sleeping in that bed, listening. I won't get no sleep. I'll be an insomniac. And I'm not gonna marry you and sleep on the other side of the house. I'm not gonna do it. Don't ignore that. Talk about it. Talk about it. You can't help it, but get the help you need to like get a hold on it. Dad called me on the side to warn me. Woo. I wish I had some parents call me and warn me. Yeah. If any of y'all ever see this, I wish y'all would have warned me. Fuck you. Okay. Now, if they just off rip warning me, I'm obviously gonna give it some time and kind of see how the person is, because they could just not get along with their parent. Now, if you're already kind of noticing some issues in the relationship, some other things that are kind of like, and then the parent calls you and warns you, run. They're literally trying to help you because they know that their kid is a lot to handle and needs to work on some things, and they probably are charming their way into your little heart, and they're trying to warn you. They've been dealing with that child their whole life. You've only been around for what? A couple months, if that? So yeah, that's pretty big. Insecurity. I think that's a big one that everyone can kind of relate to. However, they can play it off in certain ways in the beginning that you think, oh, maybe they're just down on themselves today and you want to give them love and support, right? And then, a couple weeks go by and they're starting to talk about it a little more, and you're like, well, maybe they're just going through like a rough patch. Like maybe this is just a rough time in their life, and you're trying to analyze the situation, whatever. And then you're deep in it at that point. It's been over a month or so, a couple months, and then the insecurities start to really affect you. And then their insecurities about themselves start to, project onto you, and then the relationship has issues, and that's why you have to pay attention to that shit. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I can sense insecurity from a mile away, and someone may not even realize they're giving off that insecure vibe, and I can just peep it. So easy. I will not date you. I will have one conversation with you, and if I get the vibe that you're insecure, we are not speaking no more, because you need to heal. There is nothing wrong with it. We've all been insecure at least at one point in your life. If you haven't and you're trying to tell yourself that you haven't, you a lie. You a lie. There is something that you have been insecure about in your life. We've all been there, so it's okay. But do not drag somebody else into your bullshit. You need to get over yourself and heal first before you bring somebody else into your life that you're going to project that shit onto. Once you hit that wall, like once you get through it, you break through that wall, you'll never go back to being insecure. It's like once you reach that moment, it's like you're just, it's up from there. You can never go back to being that other person. That's why I say it takes healing. It can be done. And once it's done, it's good. It's great. Cool beans. Because I'm going to tell you right now, can't none of y'all tell me shit. And I am so grateful for that. I am confident as hell, always will be. So yeah, insecurity is big, big, big red flag that you should not ignore. It is only going to cause you stress out your goddamn mind for the entirety of you being with that person. And a lot of people think, oh, I can help them not be insecure. I can fix them. Maybe. That's a risk that you've taken. Somebody could start projecting, and then it's like, you can't fix that. So not every situation is the same. So I personally just steer clear of it. Let that be somebody else's problem. Again, just my opinion. Dirty living environment. Oh yeah. They do say you don't know somebody till you live with them. I agree. And again, they didn't elaborate, so I'm only assuming that the reason that they ignored it at first is because they're probably like, oh, she just is kind of dirty around her place because she's so busy. She don't have time to clean, or, oh, let me help her out, or whatever. And then it got to be like, no, you just dirty, And I do think there's a difference between dirty and messy. I'll admit it. I ain't even going front. I will take clean clothes out the dryer, put them on my bed, and not touch them for a while because I just don't want to put them away. I freaking hate putting them away. So now that is messy. You can have your messy moments, I feel like. But dirty, that's different. So yeah, pay attention to the red flags. Play fighting turned into real fighting. I don't play fight. Okay? I'm liable to punch you in your pretty little nose because I'm going to get my feelings hurt and I'm going to get offended. Okay? Don't play fight with me. I'm going to just say it right there. Don't play fight. But I could see how Some people take it too far, and I could see how, especially with women, you play fight, and then they get a little, they try to get a little tough with you, and they try you. Oh, well, you can't hit me back anyway. You can't, red flag, red flag. Not saying that people can't play fight, but just pay attention to how aggressive they're being, how their demeanor during it. Again, I avoid the whole thing at all. I don't do that shit. So, lying. Whoever the hell sent this in, come on now. Why would Let me stop. Let me stop judging. I don't see why anybody would ignore that. I don't understand why adults lie. I really don't. You're not paying my bills. What are you going to do to me? You're not going to be my ass. So I don't get why people lie. As an adult, why do you lie? Unless you're in fear for your life, or unless you're in a position that's like super extreme, where like, you know, they pay all the bills and you don't have a car or house or anything, and you're solely like in their control or whatever. Other than that, why the hell are you lying? So if you lie about something small, I'm just going to assume that you lie all the time, and I'm going to assume you're going to lie about something big. I'm not going to fuck with you. Oh, I didn't want to hurt your feelings, bitch. Do you know who I am? You think you're the first person that's ever hurt my feelings in my life? I'd rather you hurt my feelings, because then I know that you're just a dead ass honest person. And there's a nice way to be honest. You don't got to be rude about it. So I don't buy that. I don't buy that. I don't buy that. Instant red flag. Throwing a tantrum and leaving at 1 a.m. over a chicken burger. Are we five? Are we five? Listen, all I'm going to say about this is they better have been drunk. They better have been not in their right state of mind, because listen, if you are going to leave my house at 1 a.m. in the morning, okay, over a piece of food, how the hell you think you're going to get through 40 or 60 years of marriage? I just want to know. I just want to know. You're not. I'm going to tell you, you're not. So that to me is instant red flag. You will never hear from me again. You better pack your shit on your way out. Matter of fact, if you don't, it's going to be there in the morning. Locks changed, everything gone. So don't do that. Call me crazy for taking it to that extreme. I don't care. That's just childish. That's just immature. Like, if you're going to be a man in my presence, you better act like a grown man. If we together and we get into a little tiff, even if it's stupid, say we got into some heated argument over a fucking chicken burger, okay? We're going to go to bed and we're going to give each other a hug and kiss, and we're going to turn our asses opposite ways towards the wall and go to sleep. You ain't even got to touch me, but you're not leaving. You're not leaving, because if you leave, we're not talking anymore. That's childish. Childish, childish, childish. Anyways, just my opinion again. They're jealousy. Okay, well, I feel like that goes back to the insecurity issue as well. But I think that people put up with jealousy a little bit more because they think, oh, it's cute, they jealous, they care about me. No, there's levels. I'll say that. There's levels. Like, I do think there is a healthy level of jealousy in any relationship. Like, oh, my man, he coaches, and, he be with his homeboy coaching all the time this month, and it's just been a busy month, and I ain't really got to spend time with him, and his homeboy gets to spend more time with him than I do. Like, okay, that's a little jealousy. That's like, I'm jealous, That's like cutesy jealousy. But when it comes to jealousy about other people, like of the opposite sex, or, oh, we out in public and people are looking at you, or, oh, why are you smiling at your phone when I'm trying to talk to you? Like, bitch, again, I'm happy without you. So I'm happy with you, but I'm also happy without you. So, like, I'm smiling at my happiness in my life, like, back up. I feel like jealousy is another thing. You should not be dating if you are a jealous person. I think there's things that you need to heal about yourself. Because when you're with somebody and you vibing with somebody, if they're not giving you a reason to think that you can't trust them, there should be no jealousy. If they're making sure that you're valued and appreciated, what are you jealous for? Shut up and enjoy yourselves with that person. So yeah, I personally don't tolerate that shit. If you start to show me jealous signs, I'm going to tell you, hey, yo, I ain't with it. So either fix it or I'm not the one for you. And yeah, some people like that toxic shit. Some people like that and they think that's cute. I'm not going to be yelling back and forth at you at midnight over a goddamn thing on my phone because you're jealous. Or over the fact that we just got home from a club and somebody was looking at me. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Can't deal with jealousy. Their passive-aggressiveness, that is a big one. That is something that's like, yo, If you don't know how to communicate, just say that. But if you're gonna speak to me, you're not gonna do the whole passive aggressive shit. You're gonna say it with your whole fucking chest. You're gonna let me know what your issue is. You're gonna talk to me like a grown adult, and we're gonna get through this. You don't have to be rude. And I think passive aggressive is very rude. Like it's like condescending. It's like ignorant. Like don't do that. And that is a big red flag. Do not ignore that shit. If you are passive aggressive with me, I'm gonna nip that shit in the ass as soon as we start dating. As soon as we start dating. I don't like when family do it. I don't like when friends do it. I don't like when bosses do it. So what you think? You any different because we in bed together? Nope. So yeah, don't ignore that red flag. Their pettiness when they're mad. So I know that everybody in this, today's society, you see all these like funny memes about being petty. Okay. I could understand having petty moments in your life, but being petty every time you're mad is another immature quality. I don't care if you take offense to that. I don't care if you think that's wrong. Grow up. You are a grown man, a grown woman. Stop being petty, especially when it comes to people you care about. You never know what could happen to that person. They could walk out that door and get hit by a car. You just never know. Being petty is not fucking worth it. So if you're still on that petty shit, again, will not speak to you. I think you need to heal a little bit. You need to grow a little bit. You need to understand how to pick and choose your battles. You need to understand that, you know what, whatever might have happened might have frustrated you, but it is not worth it. And if you feel like you need to be that petty with the person, maybe they shouldn't be in your life. Maybe you need to walk away. If they're taking that energy out of you and they're getting you to that point and they're making you stoop as low as they were, then maybe you shouldn't be around them. That's just me. I'm not going to tolerate it. Try being petty with me and see what happens. They use silence too much. I actually put this one in because one of two things can happen. When you guys are having resistance or having an issue and someone uses silence, it could be one, they're just all around not a good communicator, right? That's a problem. Communication is top 3 most important things in a relationship, right? But also, it could be used as a manipulation tactic, which is often used by narcissists and mental and emotional abusers. So you've got to pay attention to that. Like, I'm sorry, you're not going to get into an argument with me and not talk to me for an entire day or two. Not going to happen. We're adults. I can give you a couple hours to cool off because I did have to learn. I'm one of those people that wants to address it right away, get over it, move on, be happy in the next hour. I had to learn that not everybody is like that. And sometimes people do need space to calm down. Sometimes people do need to process their thoughts and then come back to it when they're a little less emotional so that they can say things that they, know is going to be productive and not say things that they don't need, right? I get that. So a few hours, I can totally give you that. Maybe if we got into it at 5 p.m. and the rest of the night, you're like, hey, listen, I need the night to cool off. I love you. We'll talk about this tomorrow. Okay, good night. Very adult way to handle it. We could talk about it tomorrow. Okay, and I'll be fine. But if you think you're going to go a day or two without talking to me because you're mad, you can keep on going more days without talking to me. Bye. I think it's childish. So, yeah. And you ain't going to manipulate me. I was with a narcissist for a very long time. And let me tell you, it can mentally destroy you. If you do not pick up on the red flags and you let it slide because you care about the person or because you don't want them to be mad at you, I promise you later on it's going to mentally destroy you and it is going to be so hard to get back to this state of mind. Don't risk it. I promise you it's not worth it. And then lastly, this is something I also put in there, constantly repeating the same things about themselves. Now, this is what I mean by that. I had dated someone who constantly wanted to tell me that he was trustworthy and he was loyal and he was honest, and he turned out to be the most non-honest, trustworthy, loyal person ever. So I feel like if someone has to constantly tell you that they are honest and, whatever, they're not. It's kind of the same thing. Like I try to compare it. It's kind of the same thing when someone has to constantly say they're not a racist, right? If you have to constantly tell me you're not a racist, what are you trying to prove? Why do you keep having to feel like you need to tell me that? You're a racist. You're low-key a racist and you're trying to make me think you're not a racist, but you're really a racist. Like, do not tell me constantly over and over and over that you're honest and you're trustworthy and you wouldn't lie to me and you're one of the most honest people ever. And I don't have to tell you that I'm honest. I don't have to tell you that I'm not racist. I don't have to tell you any of these things because you're going to see by my actions and you're going to feel it, the vibes, the energy, and you're going to see how I treat you and how I move and how I maneuver. So, yeah, just pay attention to that. When someone constantly repeats it, that's actually like they're trying to hide what they really are. I think these were all really, really good. This was kind of interesting for me personally to just read all this because it kind of showed me just how far I've come and how far I've grown over the years when it comes to spotting red flags and relationships and things like that. Obviously, we should always, in my opinion, think that every relationship is not a mistake. You should have learned from each and every one. I have not dealt with hardly any of these in years. I spot things so quick. And on the flip side, it does make it a little harder for me dating nowadays because I do spot things so quick. And I think once you are a healed person and you see things for what they are so easily, you really start to notice how many other people have not done that work. And it's tough. But yeah, I don't deal with hardly any of that anymore, and I'm happily like that. I'd rather be alone and peaceful than deal with any of that shit. Mm-mm. I'm good. I'm good. So good. And I know my king. He gonna get me right. So I just patiently waiting, patiently waiting. My finger gonna be so pretty when a ring on it. It's gonna be so pretty one day. These little granny hands. I got my little granny hands, but that ring gonna make it sparkle, bitch. I'm excited. No, I'm just kidding. Anyways, I had so much fun with this episode, and I hope you come back for more. Don't forget to like, share, comment. Tell all your friends about it. Because again, remember, it's not just the questions of the week. You have anything you need to get off your chest and say to somebody that you didn't get a chance to say, send it on over to my email. I'm going to read it anonymously. I give my input, my advice, everything like that. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. Come back for the next one on Monday and have a good night and a happy new year.